Let's freaking go! Arkansas Lives every Monday at 5, presented by Sequoia Dental. Y'all, I have got an issue with Arkansas basketball. Man, I, I just don't even know where to start with this team. Okay, I'm not even an Arkansas fan, but one thing I cannot tolerate is players going out there and not playing hard. All right, you owe it to not only the team, you owe it to not only the fan base, but you owe it to yourself. You put in all the hard work for your entire career for you to not play hard. This is not the NBA. Every single time you hit the floor, you need to be ready to put your body on the line for the team. And John Calipari decided that Nelly Davis would be the answer to Arkansas's issues. And obviously, Nelly Davis was known as the guy that everybody wanted in the transfer portal, the guy that led Florida Atlantic on that absolutely magical Final Four run. And all he's done has been a disaster. He doesn't play hard. He does not play hard. All right. He wallows around in the corner. And plays probably the most casual basketball I think I have ever seen an SEC player play. It is that astonishingly bad. And look, I actually did some research on this to try and figure out what the deal is. And of course, he tried to, make it in the NBA, didn't really love what the NBA scouts had to say about him. And he was a guy that obviously decided to come to Arkansas. They paid a pretty penny in the NIL transfer portal market, and he's been a disaster. You have got to play hard. I mean, that is the least you can do. Now, one thing I did pick up in listening to his interviews, he was a guy that said he was shy. And it could just be that he's kind of overwhelmed by the moment. It's one thing to go play at FAU. It's another thing where the fan base actually cares. And I'm not saying that FAU doesn't care. It's just Arkansas is just so much bigger. And you've got to go out there and play harder than what he did versus Tennessee. And when I've seen, the bits and pieces I've seen of Arkansas basketball in other games, he's not playing hard. And the problem is there's only 5 basketball players on a floor at a time. And there's only so many roster spots to go around. And John Calipari obviously decided to go with a smaller roster size in this first season. So all of this is magnified. And I'm not just piling on him for the sake of it, but Arkansas versus the number 1 team in the country as a double-digit underdog was playing 4-on-5 when he was on the floor. Obviously, he was going for the Tony Snell line, and he was very close to it, had a few rebounds that just happened to bounce his way. I would not play him. And I would get in his face and say, look, you've got to start playing harder, or else we're just not going to play you at all. It really is that bad for me. I could just be totally wrong. But I do think in listening to Coach Cal talk about this, and obviously listening to his interviews, you can go listen to his Indiana Pacers interview. I highly recommend you do that. He said he was very shy. All right. And I understand anxiety, all that stuff. I think a lot of it is just culture shock of how big all of this is playing for Arkansas and how much the fans do care. But I mean, that still does not excuse you going out there and just wallowing around the 3-point line and doing nothing. I mean, there are so many people that care, that would die for the opportunity to play basketball at Arkansas, and they went out and paid you to come in and you've done nothing. They gave you a single digit. They gave you the number 1. They gave you the number that everybody wears on the recruiting visits. I mean, they gave you everything you can want, and you got a talented supporting cast, and you decide to do nothing about it. It's insane to me. Absolutely insane. And it deserves to be talked about directly. Another really bad decision that Arkansas basketball made was bringing back Trevon Brazile. He's just not good. And I understand he is this NBA prospect with unreal athleticism, unreal dunks, but he lacks any coordination. all the hustle plays he goes to try and get, he doesn't come up with the ball. The ball gets ripped away from him. He loses it. I just didn't understand bringing that back for anyone that actually watched them play this past season. So I understand there's a lot of Arkansas basketball fans frustrated with where this team is right now at 11-3. And I understand I am mostly a football channel, but that was something that even a football guy like me could see holding Arkansas back. The thing about Brazile is that you could have gotten out of this. I mean, you didn't have to bring him back. But, I understand the NBA athleticism. I get it. I understand he shows flashes of just ridiculous SportsCenter top 10 level stuff, but he's just not good. So, you're in a lot of trouble. But then again, I've not watched every Arkansas basketball game like a lot of you have. This is just someone helicoptering in, and I've watched, I mostly watch the Illinois game. I watched a good bit of the Tennessee game this past weekend. It's I don't know if it's going to get fixed. I really, really, really don't. But I do want to talk about football, obviously get back into my wheelhouse, but we'll go to MB. Coach Cal talked about Nelly's anxiety on the court. Not saying that's what's going on, but the dude is not even close to what he was doing at FAU. Yeah, look, here's the thing, all right? I understand anxiety and nerves and whatever, but you owe it to everyone around you just to play hard. That is the bare minimum. College athletics, especially at the Power 4 level, is hard. You've got to at least show effort. All right. And he's showing nothing. And look, Arkansas basketball, the whole basis of this program ever being good is playing hard. That is a whole Arkansas brand. The logo is a slobbering hog running really hard. The whole basis of the success of this program is 40 minutes of hell. So that is what you are, okay? And this team, and it's not just the two players I've mentioned. It seems lackadaisical. It seems hesitant. I don't know if it's a Cal problem. I don't know if it's an assistant coach problem. I don't know. I really, really, really don't know. So there you go. Now, the next thing I want to bring up regarding Arkansas football is the transfer portal. Now, obviously, your transfer portal class has not been as good as others. Obviously, you take a look at Ole Miss, they're killing it again. LSU probably has the best transfer portal class in the SEC. Georgia just brought in a big one. The thing that's interesting to me about Sam Pittman is how many Arkansas players decide to leave. Whether it be money or whatever. But this is from our friends at Best of Arkansas Sports. I'm a big fan of the site. Shout out to Evan and the crew over there. Arkansas is amongst the SEC leaders alongside Oklahoma with 30 transfer portal departures. And what's interesting about these departures is a lot of the players, normally they go to a non-Power 4 school. But if you take a look at some of the guys that even had bad PFF grades this year, they have gone to other really good schools. So we'll go through a few of these. Obviously, the Ole Miss trio, we've talked quite a bit about them. Obviously, a couple to Purdue here that makes a lot of sense. Obviously, Jaden Wilson and Nico Davalier to UCLA. Obviously, a pretty decent program. But TJ and Tevis Metcalf to Michigan. Look at this. Brad Spence to Texas. Addison Nichols to SMU, a Power 4 program. Ty Washington to Notre Dame. College football playoff level teams. All right. Satania to Oklahoma. Braun to Kentucky. Lots of Appalachian State transfers, which makes a lot of sense considering, of course, of the connection there with the South Carolina offense coordinator, Dow Loggins, who was at Arkansas. Varkey's Gums to UNLV. Eli Stein's a long snapper. Nobody really cares. And these are some smaller college transfers. And the crazy thing about it is there are so many portal players still left here that have still not decided to make their move. Okay. Sam Pittman is in a weird spot. He does not have a good record in the portal when it comes to retaining the players that he already has. And look, we can point to a lot of different reasons as to why that is. But to me, it's number one, no vision. Number two, the idea that this program just isn't a good program. And number three, they don't feel they can actually win something. Now, some of this money related, sure. But some of this also is just getting in a winning environment, getting to a different role, getting to a different team, just getting the hell out of Fayetteville. Not a good sign. And by the way, a lot of these guys that have moved on to programs, I mean, look, half those transfers you just saw were college football playoff level programs. And some are going to Ole Miss, who I think would have won the whole dang thing. Ole Miss was the best team I saw in college football this year when they were at their healthiest and at their max. But whatever the case may be, it's been tough sledding, keeping guys around. So what I would say, whether it's NIL or not, you've got to do a better job of re-recruiting your roster. You just do. Because if you don't, these things are just going to keep happening. And you don't want that to happen. I don't want that to happen. You don't want that to happen, of course, unless they go to LSU. Then I'm all for it. And by the way, LSU has no Arkansas transfers. Now, we do have one for women's basketball. I'm not going to bring up the women's basketball game that happened last week. It was pretty good for my Tigers, but it is what it is. Hela Master says Arkansas is a laughing stock for hiring the bozo Coach Calipari. Let's go to a pale blue dot. Why all the hate from these players, in your opinion? Which players are you referencing? I will say I do know a few. I dropped my pen here. I do know a few former Arkansas Razorback players, and obviously none of them are happy with the direction of the program. One I spoke to roughly a month ago, he said he likes Sam Pittman overall, and he didn't play for Pittman, and he's not really talked to him. But it is what it is. And then another says this is just a disaster, and he doesn't plan on going to a game anytime soon. Okay. The ones transferring out. Okay, so who specifically said so? I don't know. I might have missed this. I'll also say that the Desmond James transfer did not shock me in the least. And yeah, I think if I was Desmond James and I had the game that I had and I showcased what I could do, and the fact that you didn't play me all year, I think that would perturb me as well. But I would also be a little hesitant in him having a breakout game versus a Big 12 defense that was in the bottom third in pass defense. So there you go. Let's go to Dodge Challenger. Dude, are you doing basketball now? I am not. Okay. Will I, on this live show, do some occasional John Calipari stuff? Yeah. But I wanted to put Cal on the thumbnail because I cannot stand when a team doesn't play hard. Dude, it irks me. Unlike anything else, when I see a lack of effort, you've got to go out there. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to your family. You owe it to the team to play hard. Okay. This was not last year's UConn team you were going up against. All right. Tennessee lost by far their best player. I thought Tennessee would blow Arkansas out. It's always a very difficult place to play in Knoxville. Rick Barnes is one of the best coaches of this era. But, now, if you guys would like me to do more Arkansas basketball stuff, I'll do it, and mostly on the live channel. I don't know if I'll do any actual Arkansas basketball videos. But, I don't watch every game. I don't. Okay. Now, before we get to a few more of your questions, I know a lot of you are super prayer warrior type of people. Please keep my father-in-law, who is the biggest Arkansas fan alive, to keep him in your prayers. Right, he's going through some health stuff right now. So please, if that is in your repertoire. I know a lot of you believe in the metaphysical, so your thoughts and prayers go a long way. Okay, now next thing, I do want one final thing to be crystal. Arkansas. I was shocked to see that Arkansas baseball had such a low rating. You know, I read this earlier today. I don't know anything. I couldn't name one player on the team. This was the lowest preseason ranking for Arkansas baseball in a long time per Baseball America or whatever the hell it is. That's good. Keep expectation low. I'm a big Dave Van Horn believer. But the baseball in the SEC is so good. Tony V, obviously Jay Johnson, the list goes on and on. You got the slosh angle with Texas. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. MB, I appreciate you, man. What's so sad is the fan base has developed a total sense of apathy. Yeah, I mean, an honest-to-God truth about Coach Cal was a lot of people in the coaching community felt his coaching was a little outdated. But while that could be the case, his top assistant is the coach that came over from Louisville that was his assistant for a very long time. He was quite literally the worst Division I head basketball coach I think I've ever seen, Kenny Payne. But who else on this team can help him with strategy? I don't think that's Kenny Payne's wheelhouse. I think he's more the recruiter, organizer, coach. I don't know if Cal could turn this around. But it is just one game, and you did play the best team in the SEC and the best team in the country right now. Woo Pig, what's good? Oliver, good to see you. Make sure you check him out. Woo Pig Podcast and the crew there. I look towards the future for Arkansas football. Omega Blake is an interesting transfer, but overall, just a very underwhelming transfer portal class. College football is an old man's game. I feel uncomfortable about the backup quarterback situation now that Malachi Singleton is out the door. I thought Braylon Russell was really good in the bowl game. I think he had a very underrated bowl game, and I know a lot of you just don't care for him anymore, and I get that. I totally get that, right? But there was one guy that stood out to me in the bowl game, and I want to spend a little bit more time talking about him. And look, his name isn't Taylor Green. Dental health is wealth, and our friends at Sequoia Dental are looking to help you feel like a more confident person. Dr. William Wilson and his team of experts do everything in their power to make this experience for you not only comfortable, but fun. Yes, take a look at this after and before photo. That guy definitely got himself a date thanks to Sequoia Dental. From teeth whitening to cosmetic surgery to, guess what? Botox. Yes, they do Botox. Call my friend Dr. William Wilson today or just go book your appointment at sequoiadental.com. One underrated player was Carmona. I thought he had a really good game outside of course, stomping somebody's ankle out. But yeah, he was really good. I mean, there was so many plays he made in that game, and it's just overshadowed by him doing that. And he apologized. But that was last week's show. Now, that'll do it for me. Obviously, I have something I wanted to share with you as well. I actually started a diet today, and the diet required me to fast for 24 hours. So I have done this entire show in a lot of pain. But look, I'm making it. I can't eat anything until dinner. I am doing the carnivore thing. So comment below if you have any tips for me. One of my friends, she's actually a big hog fan as well. I saw her today and she said, this could lead to gout. Now, I don't want gout. I'm slow enough as it is. But give me your tips if you actually do the carnivore thing. Special thanks to Sequoia Dental. Please get your appointment set up. SequoiaDental.com. All right. It is Power Hour SEC. Boom. And tonight we are doing some deer chili. Let's go.